Okay, I'm going to show you the lateral lunge with overhead reach and flex T-step. Sounds like a mouthful. Basically, this is the end of our frontal plane continuum that we'll use in a warm-up or towards the end of our warm-up to get some multiplanar movement. So, provided we've got clients being able to move in the frontal plane just with a basic lateral squat, right? The next progression will be to make that dynamic, right? So we add in a lateral lunge. Okay. Once I've got that, what we started doing was adding in an overhead reach to drive some thoracic extension, and we would come back from here into this T-step pattern, right? And with this, we get to drive some hip internal rotation because we're moving across that fixed femur to drive some hip internal rotation, which most people are lacking. So for quite a while, we were using this in our warm-up, which worked well. What we've sort of found recently is that in this sort of push to get everybody to get more extension, driving some thoracic extension, shoulders back and down, everything being extension based, we've almost overcorrected people, and not just athletes who live in extension all day, but even some of our general population clients. Once they've done these for, they've been doing this program for maybe a couple of years, and they've almost forgotten that ability of how to flex at the spine. And we kind of got so scared of flexion there for a while that they lost the ability to do it. So what we're doing now is we still get this frontal plane movement, get our extension, but then as we come back into the T-step, we're going to get flexion all down the kinetic chain. So we drop into some knee flexion, tuck the chin, and roll down. Okay, so in motion it looks like this. Okay, so make sure you take people through that progression first, so that they don't have too many things to focus on. So once they've got the frontal plane movement with the lower body working, then we can add in the thoracic extension. Then we have to worry about getting that hip internal rotation with the T-step. But the last piece on top, I really like adding in this flexion component, basically because it reminds them how to get to the two ends of the spectrum, some extension and some flexion. Right? When we had everybody going into just extension, what we'll see here when we ask them to flex, really we were just seeing a really nice hip hinge pattern, but they didn't actually know how to flex. Right? So being that this is just in the warm-up, it's an unloaded movement, I've really got no problem with having clients or athletes go into this flexion position. Right? And it just lets them remember where neutral is. Here's extension, here's flexion, and being able to work between the two. Right? So that's sort of the end of our frontal plane lunge continuum that we use in the warm-up. Usually towards the end of the warm-up, generally working at about 6 to 8 reps each side. Try it out, see how you go.